I think in the modern world, there's so many addictions, and I've got like, for example, a lot of friends who drink and smoke, and like a lot of my other friends will like judge them for drinking and smoking, which fair enough, it is bad. However, like they themselves are addicted to so many of these like modern addiction stuff, like pornography, video games, and doom scrolling, which uh one could argue are almost as bad, especially mentally. Now, the research is very relatively low because a lot of this stuff is recent. The internet's on. It's crazy to think, but the internet has only generally been around for like 30 years ish, and to the extent it's at now, it's only been around for like 10, 15 years maybe. So the research on a lot of these addictions are really low, but from the research that has come out, it's very alarming. We've got apparently the brains of like pornography addicts are like similar to heroin addicts. So and but also like pornography is really damaging, like to your how you view women, but also motivation and stuff. And doom scrolling is also awful for attention span. So like a lot of these addictions are really bad for you, but because they're so normalized and because they're so prevalent, I feel like it's a combination of people not knowing how harmful it is, or well, the extent of how harmful it is, but also just how normalized it is. And I think that's very, very harmful to why we're just not, why to a lot of people this isn't top priority thing. When honestly, I think it should be because what I've noticed is literally the past few weeks I've been cutting like a lot of these addictions, like video games. I've been putting up a timer for TikTok, only 10 minutes a day, and I've actually stuck to it. I've even put a timer for Clash Royale of only like 30. Well, it was 40 minutes now. I'm moving it to 30 minutes now. And yeah, what I've realized is like there's layers to the addictions. You've got your horrid addictions like heroin and stuff that you should never do, and then the layers go down. You get your doom scrolling, all that. But what I've found is the best thing is the general advice, with substances is like you should cut down instead of going cold turkeys. A very similar thing with these modern addictions is instead of cutting down, you should ideally like move on to a lower form. So let's say like you're hella addicted to pornography. Maybe you could cut it down, but I think the best thing to do is like you don't have to cut out like masturbation, but cut out the porn because that really is harmful. And like, for example, with video games, I think the best way with video games is literally just app timers and genuinely sticking to it and making it realistic. Because if you make it unrealistic, you're just not gonna stick to it. And you actually also another thing you have to do is like actually acknowledge. Again, I think journaling is great for this, but you need to actually acknowledge like how harmful this thing is and actually do your own research. Because once you actually realize like how bad this problem can actually be for your life, then I feel like you're going to be much more motivated to actually change it, and you're going to be a lot more consistent with it. Now, if let's say, I don't know, yeah, and I would say like lower forms as well. So let's say you're on like something like vaping. Well, to be fair, I don't really have experience with that one, but I would say like again, like try cut down. Literally, the best way to quit addictions I've realized is either move on to a lower form of an addiction, so an addiction that is less like harmful, either that, or try cut down on the addiction you already do have. So doing it less and less. And if the addiction generally isn't like a hella harmful one, so something like gaming, for example, although it can become an addiction, in moderation, it generally isn't bad at all. So with stuff like that, what I would say is you need to turn it into a treat. When you first start gaming, it's really fun. But then when you actually become like addicted to gaming, you're not really actually having that much fun. So what you need to do is like turn it into a treat again. So you actually learn to enjoy the thing rather than, it just being like a mindless dopamine rush that you do. This is a really tough match. I don't know if I'm going to win this one, but yeah. Nah, I didn't. Good game.